And good evening, everyone, and welcome to Digital Fiasco Live for another lovely Monday. My name's Dandr0id.
And I am Jack McBastard.
And
what's so fucking lovely about Monday?
It's lovely because I don't have to work after the show.
Yay!
Yay!
That's pretty good.
For a week.
I mean, still.
I'll take it where I can get it, but yeah,
exactly.
I'm off
Title
night shifts.
Sex tape.
Thanks. But yeah, I'm off night shift for at least a week. So
at least a week? That's good.
Yes, I may look tired, but I am ecstatic on the inside. So.
Yes. Well, you'll be energetic somewhere quiet inside.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, what have you been doing then with your whole I don't have to work on Monday?
Well, again, with the whole thing with being super busy with everything and whatnot, starting to get into some cosplay crunch and stuff like that. I haven't had a lot of time for gaming, so I've been kind of fitting in gaming where I can, so I've been playing more Hearthstone.
Okay.
I found another like little micro game for the phone that you might actually enjoy.
Don't tell me Command & Conquer.
No, it's not. I will never play. I guarantee right now, I will say it live on air right now, I will never play that Command & Conquer game. I swear, right there. So, but no, it's called Sneak Ops.
Sneak Ops?
Yeah, and it looks like a 16-bit version of Metal Gear Solid.
Sure.
But it's these random daily challenges that they send you out, these kind of randomized maps.
Okay.
And it has all the typical stuff that you'd see in a Metal Gear game.
Right.
But it looks like the classic, like, original Metal Gear. So you basically tap around on the screen, everything's kind of tiled out, so that's where your guy will travel to. There's different characters you can unlock and everything. They don't really... I haven't seen anyone with any special abilities. I think it's literally just what they look like.
Yep.
But there's little guards that run around. They have the cone vision. They have little security cameras. You can hide under them to stay out of sight. There's like rattle plates on the floor. If you run over them, the guards will go after it, but they don't know you're there. They just kind of hear the sound and they chase after it.
Noise?
And you have to collect diskettes.
Yep.
And every sequence in the level, there's a save button that costs 20 diskettes to save on.
Okay.
But if you don't have enough diskettes, you either continue on to, kind of risk going further and further, or you can just watch an ad to save at that point too. It's one of those kind of things.
Okay,
but outside of that,
terrible,
there's no real microtransactions in the game outside of that. So it's literally just this fun little Sneak Ops game.
Okay.
And it sends you a daily map that you can play through, and it's a lot of fun.
Sneak Ops.
Yeah. So that's a fun little freebie on there.
I'll check that out next time I'm in a waiting room.
The next game that I am absolutely diving into, I have made my decision because the launch trailer for The Surge 2 just came out a couple days ago, so I'm finally going to play The Surge.
Hey, you get around to the original one.
Yes, because, again, a while back when it was on sale, I bought the entire package. I think it's that and 2 DLCs for like $20. So I'm finally going to dive in and play that one because The Surge 2 just got announced, and I'm like, fuck yes, I have to still play the first one. So yeah, so that is going to be my next game.
I sat down and I played through like the first 5 minutes of the game, but I was in the middle of something else. So
well, and from my understanding, it's a very Souls-esque game, and you don't play 5 minutes of a game like that.
No, I died in that 5 minutes. I died like 4 times.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I went on 3 corpse runs, died, immediately go for another corpse run, died again by inches by inches.
Yeah,
and Jace Marine, welcome to the stream, by the way. He brings up an interesting point.
And what's that?
There's it's not a news item, but we may as well bring it up now. There is a slight change with Twitch now, that even if you're a subscriber, or even if you're a Twitch Prime subscriber or whatnot, it does not block your ads anymore. Oh, yes, I actually heard about this the other day. Yeah. We have the options to shut them off, though, if we want to. Do we?
Yes, from our end, we can shut off, because, again, we're not... big names here. We're not making fat coin off of the ads and stuff like that.
I don't think we're making any money off of those those ads.
We're making nothing off the ads. So literally, there's an option in there. I would have to find it, but there is an option to literally just shut our ads off.
We'll see what
we might have to go and do that, and then see where that takes us.
See how that angers our corporate overlords.
Because it was in the news, I think, about a week ago because of some kind of ad thing that was happening on Twitch or something like that. A lot of big name streamers went in and actually shut their ads off in protest for what was happening with them. So
they're also actually getting rid of or reducing the pre-book bonus for Twitch Prime members on Amazon.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, or I guess it's Amazon Prime. It's not really Twitch Prime, but yeah.
Yeah, and James, that's kind of the concept. It's like we're not getting any coin from it, so fuck it.
No, well, actually, if we were an affiliate, not an affiliate, if we were a partner,
that would be different.
We would have ad breaks. We would have like sponsors. And
yes.
We would have, you know.
But until we get that Dollar Shave Club or Squarespace or whatever the other shit is that they what's that Magic Mattress or whatever those fucking things are, it's the same. It's literally the same like 4 or 5 companies you see on all podcasts.
Magic Mattress,
or no, it's Casper Mattress. That's a big one. I think it's only in the States.
That sounds vaguely racist. All right.
They're not called Whitey Mattress.
Well, maybe they should be.
ZipRecruiter. That was one of the other ones. Yeah.
Is that like a?
It's for recruiting for jobs.
Monster?
Yeah, it's like Monster basically. It's spreads the jobs out there, finds you recruitment and stuff.
Yeah.
So
until we get like sponsored by either Coca-Cola or Coca-Cola, I don't think we're really going to be helped out.
I'll take both.
Yeah. I mean, I probably advertise a bunch for them anyway. So
I mean, yeah, we usually have it sitting on the table here. I have my Starbucks from time to time and stuff like that. Okay, so
it's cute.
What have you been playing?
What have I been playing? Well,
yes, I see a fat stack of games over there. So
yes, there's always something on the go. But I have come to the end of my latest No Man's Sky push.
Yeah,
I've done all I can do. I think I'm now into the mindless busy work phase.
You kind of own that universe now.
Pretty much, yeah.
You become the universe accountant.
I have something like 1.5 billion credits and my big Star Destroyer and a whole fleet and nice, like, evil hollowed out volcano cave. So, I mean,
yeah.
Short of having minions to do my bidding, I think I'm good for now till the next add-on kind of drags me back in.
So they bring in the PvP Starfighter system or something like that.
And of course, we know like next Friday is Spider-Man.
Yes.
And that's going to be taking up some of my time.
That's going to be huge.
Right. So I didn't want to go into anything that was going to be like a huge time sink.
Right.
So I dove into my backlog file and looked at all the things I kind of purchased and kind of sat in my DLC queue for the longest time.
You playing some Ghosts or
no Ghosts
or Ghost Recon whatever?
Oh Jesus, no, yeah, like the
the one we always joke about.
Call of Duty Ghosts.
Yeah,
no,
that one.
Still in the plastic. Still in the plastic. That literally that's 2 years worth of Call of Duty that are sitting there unopened because I haven't gotten to World War II either. So anyway, it doesn't matter. So no, I got into 2 games that I've been meaning to play for a long time. The first one is Chroma Squad.
Oh, yes! This was one of my personal favorites.
Which was highly entertaining.
Yes.
If you like the whole Sentai kind of...
Sentai Ranger, like the Saturday morning schlock cartoon kind of aspect to it. If you love any of that part of it, go look up Chroma Squad, and I guarantee you'll love it.
Highly entertaining.
Yeah.
So, yeah, basically, it's like... but the trick is, it's not just you are these Ranger squad. It is a show. You are basically putting on a show. So you are building out your studio. You have to like have advertisers. You have to like, you know, follow your director's directions to get extra points and stuff. And you're managing your audience and you have to your money.
Yeah, and you have to earn fans from that audience. So they'll like you have a social media guy, an advertisement guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, and the funny part is it plays out like a turn-based kind of RPG like tutorial style kind of thing, but you it's all for the cameras.
Yeah, it's an XCOM-like
you're
game.
Literally just fighting guys in suits, but and they're joking around about like, oh, I can't see out of this thing. Or
there's a lot of meta humor.
Yeah,
and you're like a lot of the stuff is crafting because you're building your own cosplay suits and whatnot.
Because the original, like a lot of the original costumes, they're like cheesy ones that are all taped together and everything. And then as you get more money, you actually buy professionally built suits.
Yeah, and you start building up your studio. You get a better green screen. You get a better workbench to build better costumes and props and stuff. It's pretty awesome, all things considered. So that was basically all day yesterday.
Yeah.
I played actually Saturday. I played like all day Saturday was just nothing but Chroma Squad. So yesterday, after I finished off Chroma Squad, I'm like, fuck, I'm right back to where I was in the beginning. I didn't want to start anything like huge.
Yeah.
And as it is, I have even less time. So yesterday I started playing The Fall, which is a great indie game. It won like a bunch of awards for best story 2-3 years ago, and actually was one that Travis highly endorsed. So I won't hold that against it. But It's very good, and basically the idea is that it's the AI that's built into a combat suit, and the pilot of the suit is like unconscious and dying, and the suit basically has to try to get to safety and get like life, like not, pardon me, like a medic, for his pilot, and it's all about having to manage the suit's individual directives and save the pilot without endangering his life, without violating his directives in this whole puzzle kind of point and click kind of adventure. It's
playing with the what is it, the Asimov like kind of
similar
robotics thing, like the ideas of that, but also with this interesting storyline along with it.
Right. I go more like the RoboCop.
One of the interesting parts about it that I've heard about it anyways is that something that really sells the game, because graphically it has an interesting kind of look to it, but it's not really big and flashy or anything like that. But I've heard that the voice acting is one of the best parts of the game. It really, that's what sells you on the character and kind of what's happening in that scenario and whatnot.
No, it's very good, and probably the closest comparison I would say is like somewhere between Inside and like Flashback.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that kind of
It really puts you in that environment. Like because that's the whole thing. Is funny that you mentioned like Flashback, because I still think back to that one that's one of those ones, the world is so different and intriguing that as soon as I play it, I get sucked into that world, because it's just, I want to know more about kind of what's going on with it and whatnot. So,
and Maim Kill Destroy, welcome to the stream. He's a little bit late to the discussion, but yes, you had to watch a 2-minute unskippable ad for Circle K apparently.
Oh well, that's great. Sorry about that. They're not an official sponsor, and we are looking. You would have missed the conversation before, but yeah, we are looking at just shutting the ads off on ours, because I'm pretty sure that we have the ability to just do that.
Hopefully, we shall see. Yeah. We'll look into that. Question mark. Unless we get money for it, in which case I say watch the fucking
If we've been getting money for it, we haven't been seeing it yet, so hopefully that's been banking somewhere, and we're going to get $5 or something like that. Them fat checks.
Whoa, strange things are afoot at the Circle K. Dude. Classic. All right, so yeah, Chroma Squad in the fall. I think the fall was actually part of PS Plus. I don't even know how long ago.
So, yeah, that one was like a while ago, I think.
So you might already own it, and I mean, I'm sure it was part of Humble Bundle at some point.
And I mean, honestly, even if it isn't, I think it's on sale on Steam like every other week for like $3 or $4 or something like that. And
so it's well worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that basically took me through most of yesterday, and when I wasn't playing that, I was actually catching up on Black Sails. Which I had never seen before.
Maim Kill Destroy is a huge fan of that show, and
Fun fact, the guy who plays Captain Flint is actually the father on the new Lost in Space on Netflix.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So I had no idea who the guy was before. I'd never seen him in anything, and then suddenly he's this guy. Oh, like, shit, he's this guy. Okay, so I know that guy. And like really like a fantastic series, like I think probably the best series I've ever seen on Starz.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like,
and apparently also a Bond villain.
Last couple of days. He was a Bond villain? No, he was not.
I don't know. You can look it up, but yeah, either way, I know that he was, he endorses it fully. Like it's one of his favorite shows that he's seen, and he enjoys that it was like a 4-season stint, and then that was it, because he said it ended well, and it was like it didn't overstay its welcome.
Die Another Day. No, Die Another Day was the guy at the North Pole. That was all those fucking
Great, look what you did to Jack.
That's possible. I mean, all those fucking movies run together, but that just tells you how completely unremarkable that movie is. I don't even remember.
To be fair, Die Another Day was terrible.
I don't even remember the villain in that.
I don't remember the villain. I know that Halle Berry was in it.
Yeah.
And I also remember that it had that atrocious Madonna song as the intro song.
And it had that terrible surfing scene.
Oh, the windsurfing part. Yeah. Oh. All right. Enough of that.
All right. I'll have to look that up. He was Korean, but right, he changed races. What? Okay, remarkably unremarkable.
Yeah, that was basically it.
All right, well, that's an interesting little homework assignment for me, because I will have to go back. I actually do have like the Bond 25 set,
right?
So I will actually go and I won't watch Die Another Day. Well, I will look at it. Go
fast forward through it.
It was the guy, and then back on the shelf.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to the Dandr0id and DLC, the Triple D. What's our big highlights for this week?
You know what? Not a lot of big highlights per se, but there's some indie gold in there and whatnot. So
and Black Sails, the fourth season on Blu-ray is now available. So I'm gonna just go.
Oh, there you go. So you got the whole thing and good to go.
Yeah.
Triple D today we have Divinity: Original Sin 2, the definitive edition, digital and retail.
That's a big fan favorite of that one.
Yeah, I keep seeing that one go by so many times. I really need to actually check that one out.
Again, it's one of those ones you need like a lot of time because it's a big RPG kind of deal. So,
yeah. But like a tactical RPG, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Another, you know what, a big one here, I don't know if you're a fan of this series or not, but if you like wrestling games at all, Fire Pro Wrestling World is coming out, which is actually quite exciting because we haven't seen a Fire Pro Wrestling game, I think, since the early PS3 or something like that.
Was there a PS3?
There was, but I want to say it was a remaster of like a PS2 game or something like that. So yeah, we haven't seen a brand new one in a while. So
is that an SNK one?
Yes, SNK. Yeah.
So it might have been like a remaster of like one of the old Neo Geo ones.
It might have even been that, because I mean, honestly, even the World game here, like Fire Pro Wrestling World, it still looks like the Super Nintendo game. They have a very specific look, they have a very specific feel to their games, and they don't bend or break for anyone. They do their own thing, and I really enjoy that they keep it that way.
Oh, it looks entertaining as hell.
Because they have hardcore fans, and there would be riots if they tried to change any of that.
Definitely.
Yeah, and where was that other one? This one, okay, so this was an interesting looking one. I had to watch the trailer for it, and I was like, man, I think I could get into that.
Which one?
It's called Strange Brigade.
Oh, yeah, Strange Brigade. That's one from Rebellion.
Yes. This one is an interesting, like, I guess it's like 2 to 4 player multiplayer online.
Yes.
And it's that kind of pulpy, like Indiana Jones type adventure thing.
Tune in tomorrow.
Yeah, like that. Like you're fighting the werewolf and mummies and zombies and stuff, and you have your Indiana Jones-esque, you're like a voodoo doctor chick, and like all these different like wonderful characters, and
it's like Left 4 Dead crossed with Fortune and Glory.
Yeah, exactly. Game. So it's like
it
you're
looks really
swinging
cool.
on ropes through a jungle, and you're fighting the Wolfman, and you're looking for treasure and gold and everything, and I mean, it just looks like tons of fun to play.
I've been watching that one for a while. I'm curious to see if it reviews well.
Yeah. So yeah, I really hope that it does, because it looks like a lot of fun.
Definitely.
Let's see here, and there's
like a lot this week.
There was, like I said, there's not a lot of big ones per se, but just a lot of stuff to take a look at.
Oh, there's a bunch that I'm actually really interested in.
A big one for you, of course, Yakuza Kiwami 2. That is, I guess, a bigger one, definitely.
Out of all of them, it is probably the one I have the most issues with.
And are you, because this is the one we always joke about, that has the golden Buddha statue breaking out of...
giant fucking gold castle.
Oh, sorry, giant gold castle out of the Buddha statue?
No,
is that what it was?
Osaka Castle basically splits in half.
Yeah.
And a giant gold Osaka Castle comes up for no reason.
It's very, like, anime mech looking almost and stuff, so...
And you fight some tigers.
Have you confirmed if that's in this?
Yes.
It is?
Yes.
Okay, so it's... I didn't know if they wanted to remaster it out or something.
It's remastered. It looks fantastic.
Looks glorious. It's extra shiny now.
It's incredibly beautiful in its stupidity.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah,
there's like a lot to the game that's actually really good. That one moment just kind of goes.
Is that why you put up with it? Is because the rest of the game is very good?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's still not as out there as Dead Souls.
Dead Souls is like off its own thing.
It's its own disc, its own adventure or whatever.
It is a side story. It's not the same reality.
Yeah.
It is
and final one that I have, those of you that are fans of the whole kind of survival genre series and stuff, DayZ is finally coming to Xbox also.
Oh yes, finally.
Yeah, so anyone that isn't playing Fortnite or PUBG or whatever is they want to get in on something like that, they can play it on Xbox finally.
Yep. All right, I got a few more that I've been watching. One Bout of Blood, which is on PSVR. It's the airship PSVR game. You play with like multiple players and stuff.
So I'd call that Air Sickness VR.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's not one I'm sure.
It's like a dogfight kind of thing. Like
no, it's kind of like. Well, if you have like Sea of Thieves, basically, but you're in an airship.
Oh, okay, all right.
That's the sort of deal. Another one, Donut County. This is going to be a big one for people who like kind of the Katamari Damacy kind of game.
Oh, okay. So I saw the one go by. Can you explain what this game is exactly? Because
basically reverse Katamari Damacy.
Okay.
So basically, instead of rolling up things, you have a hole. And it gets bigger and bigger as you drop things
as
into
you eat things, and then expands and allows you to eat bigger things. Okay, I'm on board with that. I fucking love those wacky little puzzle games like that.
And even like the aesthetic of it kind of even reminds you of Katamari Damacy.
I'm just saying, look at the picture. Yeah, it has that like no line, cell shaded kind of look to everything. And
another one, like Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate is coming out for Switch. I mean, if you like Monster Hunter, everybody likes Monster Hunter.
Is that a remaster of one of the ones for Wii U, then?
I think that might be a PSP remaster or a Vita remaster.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's Monster Hunter Generations, I think, was a Vita game. I'm not, like... Monster Hunter World was really my first foray in any kind of real fashion. So. And
yes, Maim Kill Destroy, this is a... All Your Base Are Belong to Us shirt, but it is for AYB Online, actually. This was a...
What you say?
This was a shirt we sold at conventions, and I think we still have some of these. You can get them at the next convention. So, yeah, you can show up and get one of these. Cause,
don't tell the Zero Wing people.
That's the whole thing, is like, as soon as you see somebody, wearing this, you're like, oh my god, that's awesome. It's such a callback. So, yeah.
All right, and one last one, Sunless Sea. The Submariner edition for PS4 comes out. I think that one was in like early access for a long time. Now it's out on PS4.
So what is Submariner?
It is kind of a roguelike game where you are in a steampunk kind of environment, but it's like an H.P. Lovecraft sort of universe.
Oh, does it look like a storybook kind of thing, and you have like multiple people controlling the sub?
No, no.
Oh wait, no, sorry, that's a different game. That was something about the deep or whatever.
Yes,
yeah.
No, this is one. It's an overhead point of view, and you like see like sea monsters and crap underneath, but it also it shows your captain's log like written on the thing as you pass by and stuff. So it's got a very interesting aesthetic to it. So you'll have to look that one up. Watch the trailer. I think you'll know very quickly if that is or isn't one that you'll enjoy. All right, we got a couple of anti-releases as well.
All right.
We talked last week about Bloodstained for the Vita being canceled.
Right.
Turns out that Bloodstained itself is also delayed till 2019.
Oh, interesting. So, did they give any reason on that, or just... it's done when it's done kind of situation, which is fine. I mean, I'm still, eagerly awaiting it, but if it's not done, I don't want them to release it.
He had a shitty game that he thought was going to be good.
I thought you were going to say he had a bad lunch or something. And
also that. Gone Home for the Switch, that's been delayed to September the 6th. I think that was supposed to be out this week. And Underworld Ascendant, that is the spiritual sequel / direct sequel to Ultima Underworld.
Oh, okay.
That's been delayed from September to November 15th.
How are they not getting sued by the movies?
It's kind of the same situation as... no, not Underworld. It was a, Ultima Underworld?
Yeah.
Ultima, that series?
Yeah.
Which Origin, which is now EA...
Okay.
The Looking Glass people, the Thief, the Dark Project, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They own everything in Ultima Underworld that is not Ultima related.
Oh, okay.
So they are now doing a third one.
Interesting.
Called Ultima, or Underworld Ascendant.
It's just interesting with the naming convention like that they're kind of getting away with that or whatever. So
it's like Star Control, right? Where they're using like Wrath of the Urquan or the Urquan Masters instead of the actual Star Control name. So they own everything in it except for the trademark for the actual title. So yeah, that's been delayed till November. So yes.
Quack. Oh, the majestic space duck.
And welcome to the stream, Dan and Wade. We also, I was paying attention to it, but I wasn't going to comment on it.
Yeah.
The worst James Bond movie has got to be A View to a Kill.
No, there are worse.
Moonraker is terrible, granted, but I mean, it has some amusing bits with Jaws and whatnot. A View to a Kill is horrible. It's Christopher Walken and Grace Jones. Terrible.
Just because it has Christopher Walken in it, I will watch it over Die Another Day anytime.
I mean, yes.
Die Another Day has
also
no redeeming qualities to it.
Oh man, I mean, but Pierce Brosnan is better than Roger Moore.
Because at least
the movie was terrible.
Tomorrow Never Dies isn't even a great movie, but I'll watch it again because it was okay, and it has by far one of my favorite Bond themes in it. So that actually that's a big aspect for me is if the theme is good.
Plus, I like that guy. I don't remember the
villain in
name.
that one.
Yeah,
he had like the scar on his eye and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, he was the newspaper guy. You're thinking of...
or was that the next one? I
Tomorrow
don't know.
Never Dies was the one with the newspaper and the stealth sub.
The stealth ship, yeah.
Yeah, stealth ship. And then The World Is Not Enough was with Robert Carlyle.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yes.
That was the one...
Which wasn't terrible, but kind of...
Was that the one with fucking Christmas in it? It was,
yes.
What's her name? Oh,
horrible.
Man. That was terrible.
we could go on for hours about shitty Bond films.
Yeah.
Elliot Carver. Well, that was the character's name. What's the actor's name? Is that the actor's name? I don't think so.
I don't know. You can look it up.
But he is also...
Christmas Jones. Yeah. There we go. Yeah.
But he is also in the Game of Thrones. He was the guy in the sackcloth, with the sparrows and blah blah. The weird fucking holy man.
He's the cult leader.
Yeah, basically. I don't remember his actual name. So anyway, it doesn't matter. So anyway, let's get to the news. All right. So last week was Gamescom.
Yes.
Shitload of Gamescom.
Always a big event.
Yeah. Even though a lot of the major developers kind of gave it a miss because Tokyo Game Show is not that far off.
It's always been like, because Sony, you know, they're based out of Japan and stuff like that. They always kind of stick to Tokyo Game Show. So Microsoft takes it upon themselves to kind of take over Gamescom, which is fine. They both kind of have their own kind of corner of the ring at that point. They can show off some more stuff, so it works for both of them.
Ubisoft didn't show up. There was another one that didn't do a major thing.
Yeah.
A lot of the problem is that Cologne is a super bitch to get to.
Yeah. I really feel that, like, you know, that might be their kind of bread and butter, but also maybe move Gamescom to somewhere else.
They've been talking about that for a long time, because you have to, like, fly into... I don't know where it is, but then it's the only way to get into is like back and forth for this one place. So automatically you have at least one extra stop. There is no direct flights out. So anyway, last week was Gamescom. There was a lot of stuff. One of my most anticipated games. Finally, we got a confirmed release date. We got a new trailer for it and some great news to go with it. So Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown.
And like Jack just shit himself when that trailer popped up out of nowhere.
It was so beautiful. Let me tell you, I've been waiting. Like they've been like radio silent for a long goddamn time.
Yeah.
So anyway, we have a release date now. It's coming out January the 18th, 2019. It's coming out, and the one thing they did finally confirm and give us details on it is flight stick compatible, and there are going to be 2 official PlayStation 4 flight sticks for Ace Combat.
Very nice. I'm glad that they're releasing new ones rather than be like, yeah, just use the old USB ones or whatever.
Apparently the
not that they're terrible or anything. It's just it gives you that option, so you don't have to go out and find old flight sticks. So you can buy a new one if you want.
I would actually, if possible, I would buy like an Ace Combat 7 branded one, so I actually complete my collection.
I could easily see them doing that,
because that would be amazing. So I would be definitely on board for that.
Oh,
now they're still talking about...
They're talking about the international, the Dota tournaments and stuff like that.
Got some information about that too, actually, coming up. But yeah, so there's going to be the T-Flight HOTAS 4. That is the one from Thrustmaster. That is for Xbox One and PS4, and Ace Combat 7 HOTAS flight stick for PlayStation 4 from Hori, which I think is the same design as the old ones. Because the last
I was gonna say, are they just reusing the mold, or are they building a brand new stick for this?
I mean, I'd be perfectly fine if they just made a brand new one, and frankly, it might be the same exact one because those are just USB anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But it doesn't matter as long as it has the compatibility. I will go out and get the flight stick for it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that plus the VR. Holy shit.
Yeah. Is the entire game playable in VR?
From what I heard, I don't think the whole game is in VR.
Like, do they have specific single-player missions, or do they have like a side step, and they're like, oh, here's 6 special missions that are VR ready or something like that?
I honestly don't know. I don't think it's... From what I hear, it's not the full campaign, but there are a lot of VR missions.
Okay.
So I don't know.
That's good. It's better than... You're better off there than with the X-Wing thing, where it's like, oh, here's one mission you can play again and again and again.
Yes. Here's this awesome thing that you can have 5 minutes of.
Yep.
Now fuck off and never play that shit again. We know you want it. Screw you. Doesn't matter.
But either way, it was good news across the board. Basically, you're finally getting that release date, new flight sticks, everything. So yeah, super excited for that.
The problem is that as amazing as it looks, it's not going to be as great in the VR, but it's going to be VR.
That's the whole thing. Is you always take a downgrade with VR because you have to keep that FPS up.
Right.
So You know, I think it'll be worth it. And honestly, that game looks next level. Like, it looks next gen almost.
Right.
Compared to just being on a current gen system. I don't know how they made it look that good.
Voodoo.
Yeah, that must be it.
You didn't hear? Yeah, it's all voodoo. It gets 100 miles to the soul. To the gallon. Why, what did I say?
Soul, I think.
There we go. All right.
I just really hope that, because I saw the trailer for it, obviously, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, you know, I dig that they have the classic airplanes in there and everything like that, but I want some of those little future tech ones in there, even if they're like unlockable at the end of the game or something like that.
I'm sure there's going to be post-game content where you get like all the futuristic looking ones with like the variable wings.
Yeah.
So
just give me a fucking Valkyrie or whatever.
Yeah, that's going all the way back to, I think, Ace Combat 2. I don't think Air Combat did that. I don't think so. But I mean, you had like all kinds of ships anyway. But yeah, Ace Combat 2 I know had one that looked very much like a Valkyrie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a common thing. All right, so moving on, another thing that was announced during Gamescom, Microsoft announced that as of September 1st, the Halo Master Chief Collection will be added to the Xbox Game Pass. So that's a pretty big thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's like pretty much every Xbox owner.
I'm actually kind of shocked that that wasn't an original feature for them, really.
They
because
were probably trying to still sell it.
It'd be like, oh yeah, hey, we're selling this thing. Halo.
Yeah.
That's all you really have to say to sell something like that. That's basically it. So I mean, good on them. Anyone that has the pass now, they're going to be enjoying that one for sure.
And what's also good is that it's going to have a major update that day, which will bring it Xbox One enhancement on the same day. It's going to have improved matchmaking and local LAN support as well.
Cool.
So there's going to be
classy.
So for anyone who's actually bought it already, apparently the matchmaking is still fucked. Like
that was always an issue
later.
with them. So I don't know how they could fail something like Halo.
Yeah.
Like that's something I feel like that should have been a core aspect. Like make this shit work day one.
And it's not like Microsoft is known for networking and servers.
And Mamco would like to know if the Game Pass is available on PC.
Yes and no.
So I think its specific titles aren't available?
Yes. Very few, actually. Mostly it's game, like Xbox stuff for the Xbox. I have it right now for the PC, and all I'm using it for is State of Decay and Sea of Thieves, basically. So probably next month I will just,
Yeah, axe it until they give you something else.
I mean, it would be different if it would be like if I had an Xbox One and it was for both.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it works that way or not. But yeah, for PC, there's not nearly as many titles. But anyway, so on that note, they have a brand new program that Xbox is announcing.
And this is something that Mamco want to pay attention to,
right?
Because this may get you your Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, this is a thing that they're looking at doing now. Because right now, of course, Microsoft, their buy-in on the Xbox One has not been great anywhere outside of North America. They've been pretty good in North America, kind of.
They've always had a stable market in North America.
Right.
That was like a guarantee.
Right, but they also used to have, big population in Europe. They don't really have that anymore, and less as you go to other parts of the world. But anyway, Sony's been eating their lunch this whole generation. So now they have a brand new sort of program, sort of a risk they're going to take. And what they're going to do is they're going to subsidize the purchase of an Xbox One, and it's going to come with Xbox Live and with the Xbox Game Pass, and you can buy either an Xbox One S or an Xbox One X, S Sierra or X X-Ray.
Both of them.
Yeah. Well, not both, but one or the other. And you pay by month. You sign up for 2 years, you pay by month, and it's like it works out to, for an Xbox One X, $35 a month USD.
Yep.
Or for an Xbox One S, $22 a month USD.
So it's kind of like buying into a cell phone contract at that point.
Yes, but here's the interesting part. If you do the math, it actually works out cheaper than just buying it across the counter.
Really?
Yes. That's how fucked Microsoft is. They really, really, really want you to still be playing your Xbox.
That seems weird to me.
If you do the math, it actually works out. You save $20 when you buy an Xbox One X.
Yeah.
And you save $130 by getting an Xbox One S for 2 years.
I guess it's because they really want to like push those things out the door then.
Really, really do. Yeah. I mean, Xbox One X, you save a little, but I mean, you still get the, it's called Xbox All Access, it's called. So yeah, so it's a 2-year contract. You pay in monthly installments. The downsides are you don't get any guarantees for the price of hardware. So But I mean, you're still paying less than you would anyway.
I mean, yeah, ultimately.
And the money's still in your pocket, basically. You know, if you're doing business with other people's money, it's good for you. Now, if I really wanted to get an Xbox at this point, there'd be really no reason not to.
I mean, that makes it super simple. I mean, paying, you know, $35 a month or something like that. Yeah, again, it's like getting a smartphone. It's like, I can spend $30 a month or whatever. So, and Kill, I mean, honestly, depends on how you look at it. I would say if you got the X, it would have a 2-year shelf life at least.
Probably.
Because they're all on board with that. That is their new baby. They are going to support it definitely past 2 years.
Right.
So I think that wouldn't be worth it. The S, on the other hand, that's that questionable boat anchor that we've been talking about.
And I don't even know if they'd be supporting it past 2 years, but at least for 2 years.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. It's not available everywhere yet. They're just testing it now. It's going to be to select people in select markets right now. And we'll see how far it goes. But if they find success, they'll open it wide, and then we'll see it places like Canada.
I don't see why not. It has such a low cost to like buy into it. I could definitely see it exploding on the market.
Yeah, I think that maybe Microsoft doesn't want it to be too successful either, because then they have to assume the cost of all the hardware up front, and then it's like just capitalized over many years. Or 2 years.
Well,
many months.
They know it's a contract. They know they're getting their money. So.
One way or the other. Right?
Yeah.
All right. So, in a power move by Valve, recently Steam Broadcasting dropped an extra big Dota 2 update. So, it integrates Steamworks into Steam Broadcasting. It allows them to tailor the viewing experience, quote, specifically to Dota 2. You'll see markers for match starts, first bloods, team fights populating the timeline as you watch live. So, they are starting to muscle in with one of the biggest things on Twitch, biggest things you see on YouTube, and they are giving it Steam-specific streaming. So now all official Steam broadcast, like all official Dota events, like the TI, are going to be all through Steam Broadcasting. They've integrated into Steam Chat, so there's going to be a brand new broadcast Steamworks API to Steam partners as well, so that other people can put in specific functionality into their game.
Oh, okay.
So it's a pretty big power move from Valve. You know, muscling in on YouTube and Twitch.
With them basically owning it, I mean, it makes sense that they would do that. Because, again, it's like, why broadcast it or run it anywhere else when you clearly have the hardware, the software, everything to run it anyways. So
Yep, the Steam platform, like they had chat for the longest time, but what they don't really have is the community. And watching streams and, you know, commenting and whatnot is going to bring a lot of that in.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting. When I know there's going to be a Dota 2 major, I just watch it in game. I mean, yeah, you could definitely do that.
Yeah, because I think that also gives you like camera controls. You can watch the game however you want to watch one player. You want to view it from the battlefield. Everything. You have the ability to do all that. So I mean, that's an amazing tool to have in and of itself. Yeah,
not every game has that sort of option, Damon Blade, but he's absolutely correct. You can download the Dota 2 client and watch it there.
Yeah.
So I mean, what they're doing is they're going to be extending sort of this functionality into any game. They're going to give you the API as a developer, and you can say, oh well, all these hooks are there. We can just go through Steam Broadcasting and, you know, have all this additional functionality and get people involved. They could then, you know, make it a data point so they can use it for marketing for ads and whatnot.
And it's smart on their part because they're not trying to dive in the deep end with the big boys like YouTube, Twitch, like all that kind of stuff. They're literally just saying, hey, the really few popular ones that we have, we're giving you this ability kind of to view it through there and everything. They're like, oh, we're launching Valve TV and you can stream your games on there and everything like that. They're not trying to make their own kind of launch pad for that type of stuff.
I don't know about that because it's actually, if you look at it, the URL for it is steam.tv. It is literally going to be eventually a competitor for Twitch.
Yeah, so eventually. And I guarantee it'll never be as big as Twitch.
I don't know. I mean, Valve is entrenched in terms of PC game delivery. And the more they can expand into this social environment, I think they have a better chance of becoming a competitor for Twitch than YouTube does, honestly.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, YouTube hasn't had great traction from the beginning. But I feel like this is something that if they really, really wanted to make a push on it, they should have done it 2 years ago.
Well, I mean, when you start seeing official events only going through this instead of also going through Steam, or pardon me, also going through Twitch, then that's going to be a pretty big...
David Gaming says, I predict Steam streaming will do about as well as the console they were making.
To be fair, Valve was not building their own consoles. They were just licensing out the hardware.
Yeah, that is true.
But I mean,
but either way, it'll be interesting because
Yeah.
I always like to see some competition in that kind of realm. It kind of sucks when you just have like the one guy at the top and then that's it. Because again, there's no competition. Everything becomes stale. Like,
you end up with unskippable ads.
That too. Yep.
Unskippable fucking ads. Okay, so Project Mephisto was not Syphon Filter.
Obviously not. I know, sad face Jack.
Where's my fucking Syphon Filter?
Hashtag pray for Syphon Filter.
Right. Justice for Syphon Filter. So Project Mephisto is actually a new project by Supermassive Games. It is a trilogy of games. These are the guys who did Until Dawn.
Right.
It's going to be called the Dark Pictures Anthology. It is a 3-game horror series based on urban legends. So each one's going to run about 5 hours. They're all going to be separate episodes. You can play them in any order. There's no real relation to them. It's like a bunch of Black Mirror.
They're standalone.
Right.
Yeah, it's very much like a Black Mirror. It's an anthology. So you dive into whichever one you want.
Right.
And yeah, enjoy the whole pack.
Yep. The first one is called The Men of Medan, and it's going to be focusing on the story of a ghost ship. And it's going to be sort of the same thing. There's going to be 5 or 8 teenagers, and whether they live or die is all in your hands. So it's going to have realistic graphics like Until Dawn. It's going to have motion facial capture, real actors, same sort of thing. Apparently, it's going to feature the largest branching storyline that Supermassive Games has ever done to date. So it's going to be sometime in 2019. It'll be published by Bandai Namco. It'll be available for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Yeah. First, we'll release sometime in 2019. We don't have a firm date as yet.
Did they have the other stories on there, or did they just talk about the one so far?
They just talked about the one. They gave you in general what it was going to be like.
Okay.
They don't have details on the other ones yet.
I think it's a smart move on their part because, Until Dawn was a huge, like, massive success for them.
Yes. A lot more than Sony thought it was going to be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was like the little title that could, basically.
Right.
And they kind of branched out. They tried some other things with VR and stuff like that, but I think this is their bread and butter, and I think that them going back to it is a smart move on their part, especially making an anthology this time. So not only are you going to have, the multiple branching paths and endings and stuff, you're going to have 3 different stories to do that in, too. So there's tons of replayability there.
Goddamn Janus Marine.
What did he do this time?
I don't want you to say it out loud.
No, I'm not even...
I don't want to
I'm not even reading it. No. Janus Marine, you get rid of that right now.
Turn around 3 times and spit.
Yep.
God damn
Throw
it.
some salt over your shoulder.
Really? Anyway. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That's another big one that's coming out this year.
Of course.
And actually, our good friend PowerPix had a chance to actually go hands-on for a long time with it.
Okay.
He actually took a bunch of video, which you can go see on his website at powerpix.com. He brought back some great capture videos, and he actually has a big view of the map.
Okay.
The map itself is huge. It is obviously being...
Is it on par with Origins?
It is actually... Yes and no.
Yes and no.
We'll get to
okay.
that.
All right.
It's mostly sea with mountainous islands. It's like based on a scaled version of the Mediterranean.
Okay. Yeah.
So the geography of the Mediterranean and Greece. That's kind of what you can expect. You'll have a ship in the game with archers on it. You can shoot other ships with arrows. You can ram into them. The ship will be an integral part to navigating the game since it's mostly water.
Right.
Your ship can be upgraded throughout the game with better javelins, archers, better hull, better fire braziers, rowers, and more. So a lot of different.
So very much like Black Flag.
Yes. Yes, but a little bit less black sails. Because goddamn,
a little less piratey.
Watching that for I don't even know how many hours straight, I really wanted to go back and play AC4 again. But it's like, no, I just did that.
You just did.
I just did that, and I just did Rogue. I am good. But a good pirate game like that, oh, do I want that right now? But anyway, the map will apparently be 130 square kilometers.
Okay.
Which is 62% bigger than AC Origins. That was 80 square kilometers. But the landmass is less because most of it is sea.
It's kind of like a Wind Waker type deal.
Right.
Yeah.
It's bigger but smaller. But I don't think you're going to really think that it's less to do in the map.
Oh no, absolutely.
By the size of it. The maximum level is again going to be level 50, but it's going to have apparently a new game plus from the beginning.
Okay.
So that will be interesting. I'm interested because he also captured a late game boss fight against a Medusa, and I'm like, wait a minute, because we lost our shit when there was a giant snake.
Yes.
Let alone a gorgon that turns you to stone.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking that either this is some first civilization madness bullshit.
Yeah.
Or it's a drug trip, or I don't think they're going to go full mythological.
Yeah, they never really have. They've suggested it at points in past games, but they've never really gone there. So I'm going to go with that. It is some kind of, you know, drug trip, like,
maybe.
You know, you go up the mountain and fight this monster and take this drug first.
But I mean, who knows? It could actually literally be a mutated person if it is, like they're saying, a lot more about the first civilization. Like if there's some guy up there doing genetic experiments and shit. But that would be a little
Took a woman and sewed snakes to her head.
It's the monkey with 4 asses. So it's a little out of character for Assassin's Creed, but you can go out and check that video on powerpicks.com. We talked about it. I'm like, Medusa?
Well, because
like the Gorgon? Like,
you had said they explained the large snake in Origins.
And it was like playing through the game, when you get to that point, it is you're like hopped up on a drug. You're like...
Yeah, so I feel like they're going to probably go along the same route
but why would they go back to the same exact well again? It seems
I don't know, because
unusual.
They wanted a really interesting boss fight.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, that's going to be out, I think, just before Red Dead Redemption. It's like mid-October.
Yeah, mid-October.
Yeah, so damn it, Gorgon. No! No! We're not going full on Clash of the Titans either. No.
Yeah.
Using the Deus Ex pack. What? What?
Jump off a 50-story tower into hay. They can have a little Medusa. No, they're not the same thing.
No.
Unrealistic physics versus a creature that never existed.
Internal consistency with your absolutely patently impossible things.
Exactly.
All right. So anyway, so speaking of Assassin's Creed, it looks like we're not going to have a, quote, full-fledged Assassin's Creed next year. So we are seeing Ubisoft, their boss, Yves Guillemot, is actually talking about taking a year off again. So,
and that's perfectly fine.
Right. So 2019, there will be no Assassin's Creed. What they're actually going to be doing is kind of like what they did with Origins now. They have additional content, some DLC, some like weekly events, monthly events, things like that. They're going to be running it as kind of a games as a service light model. So Odyssey will be all throughout 2019. It's going to be adding free updates and expansions, apparently, rather than moving on to the next big game.
See, and that's what they do. Don't build an entire new game just to keep playing, just to keep people playing the Assassin's Creed title. Like, let that one breathe. Let people enjoy it a little, and and add some kind of fresh content to it and everything. Let your team work on a brand new title behind the scenes while everyone's enjoying the previous one.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's pretty clear that they're working now on Generation 9 stuff, and it's going to be, it might be cross-generation, but it's definitely going to be like 2020 you're looking at. Yeah,
absolutely. And I mean, we've talked about it before, but taking a year off, it certainly helped Origins.
It definitely
made it a much better experience.
Yeah, they went back to basics and basically broke it all down and rebuilt it from the ground up, and it shows. It was a completely different experience. So let's talk about The Division. So recently, the managing director at Massive Entertainment, who are the guys who do The Division under Ubisoft, under, I guess, Red Storm.
Right, yeah.
So David Polfelt, he was the managing director. He's talking about The Division 2, and he had some interesting thoughts about how to handle a sequel to a games as a service title. And I'll just read the quote. He says, it's been 3 years since The Division and The Division 2. I think there's a lot of interest in trying a similar type of mechanic, but in a new way. I'm pretty sure people are curious about the new one. Part of me thinks that maybe The Division should remain live and The Division 2 is an alternative path for some people. I don't know what will happen. I think we'll need to remain very open-minded about that. So he's talking about the possibility that you'll have The Division stay open and still have people and still have players.
Right.
And Division 2 run completely separately as a different games as a service title.
Right.
It's interesting.
It's... I guess it's interesting. I don't know. I'm one of those people that if I'm really into a series, I always kind of need the newest iteration of it.
Yeah.
Whether that only has a few changes or a bunch of changes. Just like people that play... like an NHL or a Madden game or something like that, they always have to have like the most current year version of it because they want, you know, the small changes, the newest soundtrack, the newest menus and UI, like the newest team setups and stuff like that. So, I mean, I can see where that's coming from, because there's a lot of people who've put a lot of hours into the first game, and they may just stay there with that. And then there's the other people that are gonna be like, well, fuck the first one, I'm buying the second one.
It says,
oh, they're just talking about voice packs for Dota 2. That was the Deus Ex thing.
Man, kill, destroy. How about the part where you empty 6 full magazines into a dude's face? It's like almost Uncharted physics at that point.
Yeah, pretty much. But, fucking bullet sponges.
Right. But this kind of goes back to what I was thinking back when they had Destiny and Destiny 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the gameplay itself might be the same, but you're in an entirely different area. You have some tweaks, some new things. But it largely, you can have the two games side by side. What I wanted to see kind of with Destiny was eventually that they would just go, whoop, now you have these 5 worlds in addition to the new 5 worlds.
Right, yeah.
And just you play on all of them. And then it's just one big thing. So also what they're kind of doing with like Hitman, what I always said they're going to do with like the first season as DLC for the second one, all the maps.
They were just going to throw it into the game.
So you have the new mechanics, but the old maps. I mean, it wouldn't be hard. I say it wouldn't be hard. It's a massive undertaking regardless. But from the perspective of a multi-billion-dollar organization, it wouldn't be hard to say, you know, the original maps from Destiny now with some of the mechanics from the new one. Yeah. And you play on everything.
Well, because again, and the whole point of Destiny is to have those different planets to explore and do all these different types of missions on and stuff. So yeah, I think if they eventually kind of brought it around where they were both in the same game, I think that would be a smart plan on their part. Even if it took them like 2 years to do it, because they're running it kind of, they would run it kind of like The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead. It's like they're kind of happening around the same time, but they're on different sides of the country. So it's like, but eventually the one story starts to affect the other one.
I think it's supposed to be like in the timeline. It's supposed to be a sequel, but the Division 2 takes place in Washington, whereas the Division took place in New York.
Yeah. So they're even close to each other, though. I mean, you could have some crossover there too.
You could just have, you know, oh, you just travel to this, and then you plug into the Division 2, or you know, you download DLC and get the original.
As long as it doesn't go back to classic PlayStation 1, where it's just like, oh, you cross this border, insert disc 1.
You know, come on, get a lot of hatred about that. But honestly, I'd be fine with that these days if they wanted to make like a 90 gig thing, so I don't have to download fucking 18 hours of stuff. Just an extra Blu-ray. I'm fine with that. But it's interesting. They're also saying that their user base is only growing and hasn't been affected by other game launches.
I guess there's that factor too, is that if they have the numbers to back it up, if people are still jamming on Division 1, keep it alive.
On the other hand, I think it may also be because the original Division had so many issues with like the Dark Zone. And
yeah, of course. But hey, if they have healthy numbers right now and they release 2 and Division 1 still has healthy numbers, fucking keep it open. You have those players.
Could be interesting.
You might even have players that just jump between both the games because they like the experience of both those different areas.
As long as they can run them like as virtual servers on the same hardware, so they don't have to buy like maintain whole separate server farms. Yeah, because that would be just prohibitive. All right. So, in other hot Gamescom news, proving that Nintendo has its finger on the pulse of the American gamer, keeping up with the bleeding edge of games releases, they've just announced Deep Silver is going to bring the very hot and very current Saints Row the Third to Nintendo Switch, because that's only like, what, 8 fucking years old?
Why 3?
I mean, it still has all the dildo bats and SM gear. So
I mean, yeah, no, and I'm not bashing on it. I fucking love that game.
And 4 has the exact same engine.
But
so
they didn't go with 2, which is where it really took off and really became its own thing. And they didn't go with 4, which was the batshit insane, like, everything crazy off the wall style. They went right in the middle.
Most recent one, like Y3.
Yeah, that's such an odd choice.
It's very strange. But anyways, it's going to be the first time it actually appears on a Nintendo console, because they had that special 3DS one that they were going to do. It's called Saints Row Drive-By. Yeah. And that just...
Well, because I mean, again,
it's gone.
It wouldn't work on a 3DS. I remember playing
Chinatown Wars?
Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars, and it was fucking terrible. I don't even know why they bothered.
I tried that on the Vita as well. It was just as bad.
It's terrible. Yeah. It's just it's such a bad game. So
I tried it on the 3DS, and it was bad. I don't know why. Oh, maybe the Vita will be better.
No, same thing.
Terrible.
It's bad. A bad game is bad forever across whatever platform. So yeah.
But anyway, I mean, it was a good game in and of itself. It's coming to Switch now, so for those people who still have not played it,
go get it. Especially if you never played it, fucking play it anyways.
Yeah.
It is a fun game. It's awesome.
It is.
But yeah, it's a very weird choice.
It is. It very much is. But anyway, there's better Switch news. One of Game Art's best games. So Game Art's the guys who brought you Thexter, brought you Sylphid, brought you Lunar, Silver Star.
Yep.
One of their best games is coming to the Switch, and not only the game, but the sequel. Grandia HD 1 and 2 are both coming to the Switch. And that was one that I played way back on the PS1. I was a big fan of that series.
So is that like, are they selling it as a combo pack, or is it two different games like you buy them?
I believe it's going to be a combo pack like Shenmue is, like 1 and 2. So it's coming out for Switch, and Grandia 1 HD is also going to be coming out on Steam. I believe Grandia 2 is already on Steam. But,
okay.
So both of them will be available on Steam as well. So yeah, that the original one was released in 1999.
Wow, going way back for that one.
Yes. So they're going way the hell back. So we're going to see some footage of that from PAX West. It's going to be playable there.
Well, it goes to show that Nintendo's marketing they're really looking all over that page for, what they actually want to put on their console. Man. So that's cool.
If they went back and did an HD version of like Lunar again, I would buy Lunar again for the third or fourth time.
Just to have it on the go, or what?
Well, I have it for Sega CD. I have the Silver Star story for PlayStation when Working Designs redid it. I bought it again for the Vita, which I think may have been a PSP version of the original game.
Okay.
And so this would be another one on top of that. So,
cool.
Yeah, definitely. I love that series. So there's even better Switch news.
It just keeps getting better.
It does. So Sega's announced they're going to be releasing some of their Sega Ages lines for Nintendo Switch, starting with Sonic the Hedgehog and Thunder Force 4.
I mean, they got to get the classics out there first.
Yeah, Alex Kidd, all those ones. Fuck all those games. I don't give a shit.
Wait. With those games being so classic and stuff, again, I think we might have talked about this before. Isn't it amazing to see Sonic the Hedgehog classic being advertised on a Nintendo console?
It is.
Every time I hear that, it always blows my mind. Being in that generation of when you bought your Nintendo and you bought your Super Nintendo, you went to your buddy's place that owned the Genesis and you played Sonic the Hedgehog, and you were just like, yeah, fuck Sega, fuck Nintendo, whatever. It was like you hated each other because that rivalry, and it was like Sonic was always like the cool guy on Genesis. Fuck Sega, now they're on Nintendo.
All your console zealotry, and it's just manufactured. That's how they get you to buy stuff, to show your affiliation, to show your loyalty.
Yeah, but you were kids. You had to have something to fight about. So.
I'm going to wait until the corporations are actually, you have citizenship in a corporation. Then I will start worrying about
we're getting there. We are getting there.
I'll declare myself bleeding blue and move on from there. But fuck your fucking Sonic, because no one gives a shit.
I don't care. No. It's just...
The good news is that in that Sega Ages line, they are re-releasing Phantasy Star.
Oh, there we go. Yes. That's the big ticket for you.
And they are adding a bunch of interesting features to it. It's going to have a bestiary that populates as you go. It's going to have a magic list. It's going to have an item list that displays all your weapons and armor and the characters that can equip them, their stats, and any unique attributes and their prices and shit as you buy them. And you find them in stores and whatnot. And it's going to have an auto mapping function. Fuck. Like,
so a truly upgraded version of the game. They didn't just rehash it and throw it out there.
Yes. So I mean, going back to like 1986, I think, when the thing came out, I have so many pages of graph paper maps from 20 goddamn years ago.
James Marine has a request for you there.
12-hour Jack versus Phantasy Star live stream. That would easy. No one would want to watch it because it'd just be me like doing monster bashing for 12 hours to earn coins.
You gotta grind a little.
Exactly. There'd be a lot of grinding in those old games, you know? Same thing as Dragon Warrior, those old games, lots of grinding.
Yep.
But anyway, it's going to have a music player in it, which is equipped with a built-in FM sound unit and includes 19 tracks from both the original version and the FM sound unit version. And it's coming to North America for sure, but we don't know when. It's going to be available in Japan like next month.
Okay.
So it's coming like
probably soon after. They're not going to make them wait another year for it or whatever.
It's not going to have a huge amount of localization, unlike some of the later ones where there's a lot of dialogue.
But it sounds like it's making up for it with all of that other kind of quality of life type stuff in it there.
I think all of the other ones were actually part of the most recent Sonic or Sega CD Classics collection they had.
Yeah.
So they'll probably already have the other 3 anyway, which were also fantastic. But yes, 12 hours. I don't know how long it would take me to finish the original one, but that might actually
probably
do it.
More than 12 hours, wouldn't it?
Depends.
It's like a JRPG style thing, isn't it?
I know it
like,
pretty well backwards and forwards at this point.
No, just sometimes the grinding, it's no matter how well you know it, it just takes that time to play through it.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of those ones where if you do not save your game, you forget. No.
You might as well fucking kill yourself.
Yes. Yes. All right. So, speaking of classic games, last week, the legendary godfather of Nintendo, Shigeru Miyamoto, he spoke at the Computer Entertainment Developers Conference in Yokohama, Japan. Obviously, he's created Super Mario. He created Legend of Zelda.
Of course.
Didn't he create Donkey Kong? Yeah,
yep.
Donkey Kong as well. So, I mean, like, big fucking ticket name. So he had a word of advice for some of the developers that were there at the conference, and like, contrary to popular opinion these days, he said to industry heads, stop nickel and diming gamers.
Yeah, exactly. And again, that's why I will always respect Nintendo, even with some of their weird ideas and stuff like that, is because at their core, they're a gaming company through and through, but they have respect for their players for the most part.
Yeah. So he says, and I quote, "We're lucky to have such a giant market, so our thinking is if we can deliver games at reasonable prices to as many people as possible, we will see big profits." He says they're exploring different ways of charging people for games, shunning the free-to-play model, and instead, he calls on his peers to deliver titles at fixed prices without overcharging players, which will create more sustainable businesses over the long term. So, but here's the thing. I agree with that from a gamer standpoint. From a business standpoint, I could see the counter argument. But
I mean, there's always going to be an argument against somebody saying, don't charge as much. Like, that's basically what the message is.
There's a middle ground, right?
There is a middle ground. There's a fine line there. But I love it that someone who is such an amazing part of gaming history and ahead of one of the biggest companies in the world is the one saying it. You don't have, you can have every gamer under the sun on the internet typing away on their keyboard saying, quit nickel and diming us.
And maybe Kill Destroy says, unless you're a player who wants a virtual console. So,
yeah.
Yeah, but Richard, we're talking about Cologne right now, the Gamescom.
Yeah. But yeah, ultimately, I just love that he went out there and said it. He has the clout to do that, and
here's the problem,
and I love that he did.
Here's the problem, though. He argues against himself, though. He says, I can't say that our fixed cost model has really been a success, but we're going to continue pushing it forward until it becomes entrenched. That way, everyone can develop games in a comfortable environment. By focusing on bringing games to the widest range of people possible, we can continue boosting our mobile game business. So he wants to produce full games at a decent price, and you don't have to pay through the nose for all the additional content.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, here's the thing. We've had so many fucking talks about loot boxes and microtransactions and whatnot. I am perfectly fine with microtransactions when your base game feels complete.
Yes.
It's like, oh, this truly is an extra piece. Like, you look at CD Projekt Red.
Oh, yeah.
You buy their DLC, it's like, you pay...
No, you buy The Witcher 3, you did not get gypped. You got a full fucking gaming experience.
The base game in and of itself is huge.
Yeah.
You pay like an extra $20 or $30 at launch, and you get another huge hunk of content. There's no way you feel, wow, I didn't get what I paid
and
for.
Initially, you got 3 free DLC packs out of there, and then you paid for the ones after that, which is...
You get a bunch of little content things, and then the big ones.
Yeah, but that's an excellent model, because that you not only got a great experience and then some free stuff after the fact, but then it shows that they're dedicated to that game, and they kept going with it to have those other kind of full expansions, whereas you get the other shithouse ones where you buy a game for $80 fucking Canadian. You throw it in your PlayStation or your Xbox or whatever, and all of a sudden there's a day one download that adds, you know, fucking DLC, or adds the ability to buy day one DLC. And it's like, no, that shit was clearly made already. That should be in the game. You have cut the game apart just to sell it back to the people who are buying it.
Is Baruchu possibly thinking that Poland is in Belgium?
Maybe? I don't know.
I'm not sure what his big news is if it's not what I think it is. In which case, CD Projekt Red is in Poland.
It's possible. Poland? I don't know.
Asia.
But yeah, if you're talking about the game that shall not be named until the end of the show, then yeah, we haven't gotten there yet. Nope. But that will be the big ticket, so stay tuned for that. Definitely.
Belgium, that's not big news. We'll see how it. There's ways around
that's just the next rung of the ladder. I'm glad that it happened, but we'll see what happens with it, because it's going to be that slow burn of everyone kind of adopting it, and we'll see where it gets to.
It's just going to be one way that they can't make money in this way because they call it gambling, and then they're just going to do other microtransactions or horse armor. It's just going to be one other way to put it.
Horse armor downloads. They'll just call it that, and all the naming conventions will be out the window.
But we have actual gaming news, historic gaming news that will change the shape of gaming as we know it.
Oh, shit. And what would that be, Jack?
Quite possibly my favorite Nintendo gaming experience of all time has been GoldenEye.
Okay.
By Rare.
Yes.
Recently,
I mean, everyone, basically.
Right, basically, but, for those people in that time, it was the bread and butter of gaming. So, recently, Mel Magazine, they put together an in-depth look at the history and development of that game and came up with a couple of choice pieces of information. First of all, you've probably heard, anecdotally, that the multiplayer in the game wasn't supposed to be there.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a rogue operation within Rare. They were working on it without telling Nintendo. And basically, it was just a wish list thing for the longest time, not something that they were definitely going to have. So they say they worked up a basic version of it in the studio, enjoyed it so much, they showed it to Nintendo, and it's like, holy shit, that's awesome. Put it in the game.
Well, because again, that was more or less kind of a new concept at that point, like a first-person multiplayer shooter on the same console.
Certainly on a console it was, because there was never the power behind it to do, 4 people split screen.
Yeah.
So, but most importantly, as a side effect, they have served up an official ruling on the Oddjob dispute.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Oddjob is definitely cheating. Officially from the
that is directly
developers.
Yeah, directly from the developers of GoldenEye. They have called it cheating.
According to GoldenEye's gameplay and engine programmer Mark Edmonds, he says, "We could have put something in to stop this blatant cheating, but why not let players decide on their own rules?" So, no Oddjob. No Janus Marine. He is banned because he's too dark in the caverns. You can't see him. He's cheating.
Just don't play in the caverns.
Yes, that's why Janus Marine has that name, because the Janus Marine is banned. But yes, the stupid thing is that the thing about the Oddjob debate is that they don't, it's just his height. Okay, yes, he's a little bit shorter. He's cheating. They never ever commented on the glitch where if you crouch, it's I think down on the C.
Down C, yeah.
While you're aiming at the same time and you let go, you will permanently be in a crouch position.
Well, that's not
you just shuffle along.
That's not a glitch. You can do that with any character.
I know, but the point is,
he's
it's a glitch.
Super tiny.
It makes Oddjob even shorter.
Yeah.
That's why we used to call it the Oddjob shuffle, because you're Oddjob height and he's even shorter. So you just shuffle along, and we used to get very angry at people for shuffling.
It's like shooting at a puddle on the floor almost.
Is Torb cheating? Who the hell is Torb?
Who would Torb be? Is that like a short form of one of their names? I'm trying to think back of the roster of all the characters, because there was 30 different characters you could play. It was basically all the models from the game.
I don't know who Torb was. Anyway, okay, we got some quick hits while we wait for the chat to tell us who the hell Torb is. Nothing on my screen got the top of that goddamn boulder hat, right?
Because he's so short, you just see his hat.
Especially when you're just opening a door.
Oh, yeah.
I was like...
and he's like... All of a sudden, you just get fucking,
like, where is he? Where is he?
Dust oval in the dick, and you're fucking done after that.
He's just in my shoes. All right, we got some quick hits.
Torgo? Which one was Torgo?
Torgo.
I don't remember that character. Is he thinking of
Torbjorn? Okay, so
no, not Torbjorn.
No, that's a little bit newer. That's a whole other discussion.
Wow, if Torbjorn was in GoldenEye, that would have changed things.
So I don't know if anyone with a PS4 has tried to search for titles in the store lately. The vertical search is gone.
Yeah.
Fucking dead. May it be gone forever. May it burn in hell. So we have a standard text input now. That's awesome. Now all they need to do is clean up the download history and separate demos out into a separate category so we can get rid of those.
I think you've been asking for that since the PS3, haven't you?
For fucking ever. At least now we can just go direct to the thing in the store and just download it again. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. HTC has announced that its long-awaited Vive wireless adapter is almost ready for release. The accessory will launch on September the 24th, with pre-orders beginning next week on September 5th. The adapter is compatible with the original Vive and the Vive Pro Vive headsets, allowing them to operate without a cable tying you down to a computer.
Oh, I can't wait to try one of those. It's because I've used a Vive extensively, and amazing fucking headset.
But eventually you just get tripped up on it.
Well, especially because it's one thing to be playing, Job Simulator or something where you're like handling groceries or you're throwing shit around your office and stuff like that. But yeah, you get into a raw data or just like one of those like tactical shooting kind of things, and you have to spin in circles to make sure you don't die.
Yep.
That cable really gets in the fucking way quick.
Or that dungeon one. What was that one?
Oh yeah, even the dungeon one, because you got to like duck and crawl and spin around, and it's like it just gets insane. So that cord really gets in the way.
Yep. Mimi Productions, creator of Shadow Tactics, Blades of the Shogun. They were on hand at Gamescom to show off a brand new sequel to another venerable series. They are making a sequel to Desperados. They're making Desperados 3.
Interesting.
Do you remember Commandos, that game?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like Commandos gameplay in the Wild West.
Okay.
So it's kind of a stealth action kind of real-time shooting game.
Yeah.
So I actually was a big fan of the original Desperados series, so I'm looking forward to that. That's coming out for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox One summer of next year. Another classic franchise is coming out of retirement. Announcements from Dotemu and Lizard Cube. They are working on Streets of Rage 4.
Oh, yes, because I shared the trailer out today, and I'm super excited for that.
25 years since the last entry on Genesis.
Yep. Yeah, the only thing I'm worried about is that they only showed 2 characters in the trailer.
Yep.
And I know that they've got more up their sleeve, so I'm really hoping that they're like, oh, hey, you want to play as Blade or whatever?
Yeah.
You have to download them for $5. It's like, oh, fuck off.
I mean, I don't think so. Don't forget, Lizard Cube are the guys who did the Wonder Boy, the Dragon's Trap remake.
Yes.
And they did an amazing job of that. I think I trust them to do a proper Streets of Rage 4.
They're doing the new one too, Monster Boy, I believe, or Wonder Boy or something. Is that a different one?
Yeah, that's actually the guy.
That looked like a lot of fun too.
That's the guy who originally made the games under a company that doesn't own the name.
Oh, okay.
So actually, the Lizard Cube did talk to him, and they showed it off to him.
Yeah.
But he wasn't actually working on the game, so it was kind of a blessing, not that he had a choice.
Kind of like you go ahead with it. Yeah.
Sega owns it, so yeah. Anyway, so also on the topic of 25th anniversaries, Flashback 25th anniversary. We were talking about that earlier. Mm-hmm. It's going to be released for PS4, Xbox One on October the 25th. So it's not the remake. It's actually an original game experience, and it's going to have a modern mode, which has post-effects graphic filters, which can be turned on and off at any time. It's going to have remastered sounds and music, and it's going to have a rewind function and a helpful tutorial. So you're going to get not the remade one, more or less the original with a little
awesome, because the remake was not good. I'm really glad that they just have this version of it, because I just want to play the Super Nintendo one again. That's my favorite iteration of it.
Yeah, no, the remake was okay. It's just they changed gameplay in addition to
they kind of fucked with it a little too much. So yeah, I'm glad that they're bringing that out. I'm definitely looking forward to that.
And going back to what we talked about at the top of the show. Underworld Ascendant, that's coming out next year sometime. That's 26 years ago the original one was released. Just this week, Other Side and 505 Games announced that they're actually bringing it to console as well. So you're going to get for PS4, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox One. They're currently in development. They're going to be planned for release next year. So if the Looking Glass folks from back in the day put another coat of polish on Ultima Underworld, I am all on board for that. That is going to be amazing.
Yep.
All right. So, big ticket.
Do it.
After a couple of years, how many years have we seen that since that original sort of teaser trailer? Is it 3 or 4 years?
2012, I think.
Is it?
Or 2013
Jesus
or something.
Christ.
It's been too fucking long.
Yep. Cyberpunk 2077. And hello, TK Star. Welcome
Just in
to the
time,
stream.
unless you've been lurking, then,
Yes.
well, welcome to the chat. Anyways, yes, we are going to talk about
Yes.
Cyberpunk 2077 because we got a 48-minute trailer today.
Oh my god, it was glorious.
Woo!
It was glorious. I mean, like, I was a big fan of CD Projekt Red's going back to The Witcher, the original one.
Of course.
Because it was a stupid name, and everyone laughed at it, and then the game came out, and the laughter stopped dead. And it's like, wow, that's a ridiculous name, but wow, is this game ever great.
Yeah.
And it just got better with 2 and better with 3, and now they are into Cyberpunk and the original Telltale Games Cyberpunk franchise, Cyberpunk 2020, 2030X. I don't remember what the next edition was, but like this franchise has been around forever. They got the rights, they started making this game, and then today, after we saw the trailer at E3, they actually saw proper gameplay for 48 minutes.
Yeah.
And holy shit.
What a spectacular 48 minutes.
I am blown away.
The number one thing that was right up front, I am so happy to see them pay so much homage to the tabletop version of it in the character creator to begin with.
Well, the original writer is actually working on the game with them.
Yeah,
like,
but it's one of those things I feel like if you handed this to an EA or even like an Ubisoft or something, they'd be like, people don't care about this, just wipe it from it. Whereas CD Projekt Red, they dove in head first and they were like, no, when you create this character, you are creating this from the ground up. You're choosing their past and, you know, their skills, their class, like all this crazy stuff for it. You're designing them from the ground up. I just love that they have that in there. It feels so tabletop, even if it is a first-person shooter.
Yep. And I mean, if you watch the game, first of all, for those people who are only familiar with Shadowrun and not Cyberpunk 2020 or other versions of that that RPG, do not think that this is just a Shadowrun ripoff, because it's
absolutely
backwards.
not.
It's like looking at StarCraft and saying that, like, Warhammer 40K, oh, that's a ripoff. Like, no, other way around. Same exact thing. So, like, all the dialogue, all the terms, like the lingo, the look of it is so true to the original game and the style of it. It is incredible. So, I mean, as a new player, you can come in and just go, wow, this is a fantastic world. As someone who's actually played that pen and paper RPG, it's like a whole other level of detail and interest. So,
like I love that, because you were saying like the terminology in there. So people are walking around, and you see them like labeled as like Dirt Girl and stuff, and they have what is it, Ripper Docs and Eddies is the money, and like just they
Eurodollars, Eddies, makes sense, right?
They just everything in there. It's so well thought out, and there you can see the love and just the amazing input that they've had into that game. This is not generic by any means.
And what's going to be interesting is that it still has the same level of branched storyline that you see in like The Witcher over the course of 3 games.
Oh, absolutely.
And if they do sequels to this, oh my god, as it is, like over the course of the game, your choices of the game are going to influence not only the plot, but also like the factions and how they react to you. All their reactions to you are going to affect things like what items you'll have available, what favors you can call in, who wants you dead.
The part I want to say about you saying like, oh, if they make a sequel, it'd be crazy. It's like, I'm perfectly fine if they make a sequel, because guess what? I'm gonna be playing this fucking game until they make a sequel. As soon as I finished watching this trailer today, I was like, that's it. This is it. This is the perfect game. This is the only game I've ever wanted in my entire life.
Don't say that now. They'll just stop.
It's the only thing that I fucking want, and I will play it like till every nook and cranny of it has been explored. I'm so fucking excited for this.
All right, so let's go through a couple of data points and not only stuff that was shown in the trailer. And by the way, if you've not actually had a chance to go out and watch the trailer, we'll post the link in the chat eventually.
Take 48 minutes out of your day and watch it.
If you are an RPG fan, if you are a science fiction fan, if you're a cyberpunk fan, you like William Gibson, you like Neil Stephenson, anything.
Or if you know absolutely nothing about it, this will almost definitely get you hooked on it.
If you like Blade Runner, this is basically that.
And again, that's to people that know me in the chat and stuff like that. Cyberpunk is basically kind of my life. It's my favorite genre and stuff like that. So I've been waiting forever for a game like this.
Absolutely. So once again, it's kind of like if Witcher met Deus Ex, because it has very much an open world environment. You can basically go anywhere. You can drive. You have driving in the fucking game.
Yep.
Like, how crazy is that?
That's insane to see in a first person shooter, like open world. You can just get in a car and drive wherever the fuck you want.
It's like Deus Ex Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. And there's going to be full character customization, like you said. Your main character is named V, and it's like either male or female. You have full character customization. There are no classes. Your profession is determined by the way you spec your character, what skills you take, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so you can always be flexible throughout the game. Right. So if you need to go a little in one direction or the other, you're not locked down. You're not just like this one techie guy and you can't handle weapons or something like that. Like, you can always kind of skill yourself for whatever you need to do.
It's kind of like Skyrim, where you might have a starting point, but you're not locked in. It's just that's the way your starting spec is. It's just an easy shorthand. But you can customize it however you want. You increase in skills by performing the skill. So the more you do something, the better you get at doing something. And perks are unlocked with street cred and XP. So what street cred is like your personal reputation. It's like how well you're known on the street. So you increase that by doing side jobs, by doing missions. It kind of works separately from your XP, but it works kind of along the same lines. So it's like how well you're known. It has first-person shooter gameplay, but your combat is kind of dictated by your stats, sort of like Mass Effect, but a little bit more fluid.
Yeah, because as we see in the trailer when we're watching it, and she's like blasting away at some of the enemies, you see those numbers ticking off. She's hitting them around the same area, but you're getting different digits and stuff, so it's doing different amounts of damage, even though you're kind of hitting the same zone.
Yeah,
so.
And it's probably going to be like the better you are at a particular weapon skill, like you'll get less spread.
Yeah,
get
exactly.
A steadier hand.
Yeah.
Armor and weapons all have stats, so it is definitely at its heart an RPG, much like The Witcher is. But they actually had a Counter-Strike professional working with them to fine-tune the shooting mechanics.
Oh, very nice.
So they definitely wanted to make the gunplay, if you're used to FPSs, feel like that. So it's kind of like if you played Deus Ex, you kind of know what you're
and it looks solid. That's the thing, is that unlike that kind of weird disconnect of playing like a Fallout or the first Mass Effect, where it was very much the RPG side of it affected your gun gameplay.
Or Alpha Protocol.
This very much feels like a proper shooter with the RPG elements kind of tucked in there with it.
What's also kind of neat is the clothing you wear. Not only does the clothing have stats, like different armor values or whatnot, or resistances, it can also influence your street cred. So, like, if you have better clothing, you'll actually be
because you get that carbon woven like 3-piece suit and everything. You're looking good, but you're armored to the tits too. So
and more respectable and whatnot. So it'll have an effect on your influence on the street. And also, the higher your street cred, it will unlock vendors and content throughout Night City. Night City is the name of the city you're in. Believe me, it sounds a lot less cheesy than it actually is. Wait, that's not right. I meant it isn't as cheesy as it sounds. But anyway, no, completely open world, no loading screens. It is completely streaming, like wherever you are.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's mind-boggling when you see what the city looks like in this trailer, because it is just skyscrapers all around you, advertising billboards, flashing lights, like there's like fucking like 50 or 60 like civilians on the screen. There's
density.
Cars driving by, like just all kinds of shit going on at all times, and no loading apparently throughout the entire city.
It has a day-night cycle as well, and apparently all the people in the game, like it's kind of like an old RPG where these guys, they have their lives, they go off and they do stuff at different times of day.
Because they point out in the trailer that they have one of their most advanced like civilian AI things that they've ever built. So yeah, if you follow someone through the city and stuff like that, you'll see them on their daily run kind of thing. Like, they'll have their own kind of agenda and what they're doing and stuff. They won't just walk down a corridor and disappear, or like go in a door and just nothing happens. Like, they just stand there.
So what's kind of neat also is that they have a bunch of music that they've created based on real-world characters in the Cyberpunk universe.
Yes.
So they have their own artists and whatnot.
Kind of like a Grand Theft Auto kind of situation. Like, you hear those artists on the radio, but like they also
Love
play...
Fist.
Yeah, like they play characters in the game, too. And Ruru 2, honestly, a 5-minute load time when you start the game, I have no problem with that. If the rest of the game is no loading, because I'll be playing it for 12 hours straight.
Think about, like, Red Dead Redemption, right? It takes a long time to load, but once you're in it, you know, it feels like...
God of War is kind of the same way,
deal,
too,
right? Same deal. And it's, like, continuous, you know, no cuts at all. And one of the things that was said, like, the voiceover talks about V's current apartment, so it sounds like you may be able to get additional or better apartments eventually.
And I'm not surprised, because it's always about upgrading your car, your weapons, your clothes, everything like that. So I could easily see you getting like a sweet penthouse somewhere, you know, for that, you have that street cred and everything.
Get the fuck out of that arcology and move downtown or something.
Yeah.
There are obviously drugs in the game, and both recreational and medicinal. There are ones that are for healing. There were some hypos. They saved that woman's life with one.
Yeah.
One gives you straight up bullet time because I guess you're so high, you're like on meth. I don't know.
You can see through time.
Tetrameth or something.
And then when you, in the one scene there, you sit down and it's like you're vaping with that one guy. He's like, here, have some of this.
See, I don't know if it's good. They're going to take it to the level where you actually get addicted to the shit, and it's like, this is how you prove yourself to the guy. Like, oh, you know, oh, what are you a narc? So that's interesting. We'll see how that goes. And of course, your interactions can change the way missions will resolve. This is another one when I mentioned Alpha Protocol that games today don't do enough of. And like the way you interact, and you can like talk yourself out of situations.
Absolutely.
So it will legitimately not only change the outcomes of missions, but the overall plot of the game.
And it's not, and we've talked about it, it's not just not a Paragon Renegade kind of situation like in Mass Effect. Like this, you get multiple different things, and depending on your street cred, your experience, you may open extra things that you can say to someone, or you can just act violently and try to steal their gun while they're talking to you and shit like that. Like there's so many different options that you can do with that.
The developer actually said that just being a nice guy all the time may not necessarily lead you to the best ending of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
So you kind of have to get yourself dirty, but it's on a case by case basis.
I really enjoy that a lot of those scenes where you see them and you have like your option to pick what you want to say, that scene is still carrying on, because that person, if you don't answer right, will be like, well, what are you doing, or you know what, they'll keep kind of yammering on, and I don't know, if you wait long enough, maybe something happens after. Maybe they do just shoot you or they knock you out or something. Or
I definitely did notice that it wasn't like the traditional cutaway to the awkward BioWare animations. You know,
so what are you gonna do? And then they just sit there with like a frozen look on their face while you wait to answer. It's like, just waiting over here. It's like, no, they get angry, or they get frustrated that you're not answering them.
Stuff's going on, and it feels like you're always continuously in the moment. You're not pulled out, and like the world pauses while you talk. You know, shit has to happen, and sometimes stuff will happen to interrupt you. You just have to roll with it. Some of the other stuff, when the actual gunfight started to happen, there was destructible walls and terrain.
Oh, yes.
Which I thought was amazing. Like all the scene where they're like in the room and as the bullets are coming through the drywall. Yeah. It's like, holy shit. There's definitely mature themes. Obviously, we saw more than one decapitation. Yep. There's some nudity. There was a sex scene. The cyberware,
drug and alcohol use,
alcohol use, definitely the drug use. There's going to be mechanical effects to that, but the cyberware, obviously, there's a lot of people that are augmented and whatnot. I think this is the first time I've ever actually seen someone do the operation while you're sitting there, and I don't know if that's gonna be for everyone, but it was a little unnerving. Yeah, with the hand
it's
grip,
interesting, you know? Because they have that little kind of pin thing, and it's like sewing this like tech into her hand, and it's definitely something else.
It's the first time I've ever played one of these Cyberpunk games where there's been legitimately a moment of like the uncanny valley where it's like, oh, this is no longer human, this is alien to me, I reject this. So it's like it's gotten to the point where it's so real that, oh, this is in my hand now, oh, that's creepy. So I can't wait for that. But yeah, or if he's like installing the eye, it's like the noise it made. Oh. So yeah, but anyway, the UI of the game is actually reflects your installed cyberware. So when she had her scanner put in, she got the zoom function, the scan function. She'd like pick out weak spots.
Well, that, and it was the whole thing of she has like her palm grip thing that interacts with her gun, so she can see how many bullets she has left in her clip and stuff. Whereas you didn't have that kind of eye uplink thing. You wouldn't be able to see any of that information and stuff. So again, it's one of those options that maybe if you don't buy that in the game, can you technically play like on super hard mode without that that scanning iris and everything?
And one of the things he said, and there was kind of like a bit of a UI thing where he said the grip will work with that model of eye that you have. Yeah. So there might be like certain types of technology will mesh together and certain ones won't. So compatibility, black market, zip yanked gear, like gear that's taken out of a dead guy.
Yeah, because he had mentioned why you were getting that in the first place. He says this should make this work with this set of weapons. So everything's like kind of bio-locked as a weapon. So an average civilian couldn't just pick up a gun and fire it.
Could be interesting.
Yeah.
Also, like there was just scans where it would just get information about the guy. It would be like straight up watchdog
like
stuff.
what he's weak to and everything, and just their name, their information, all that kind of stuff.
Nutmeg.
Yeah. Extreme allergy to nutmeg.
It's the secret way to defeat that boss. They talked about chipware. There were like both shards and splinters. You would loot bodies for different like skill software. There was mind hacking, which was a little unnerving. I don't know how much of that you'll have to do to other people, but the one time it happened to me, it was like, I don't want to see that. It's like the cybernetic version of Truth or Dare.
Yeah, he has a weakness to cake. You just hold a cake in front of him. You're like, hey, you smell this? You want some of this?
Cake, my only weakness. It's like cholesterol waits for it to clog his heart and he falls down. There was another interesting bit, Trauma Team International, which is like the Cyberpunk original version of Dockwagon.
Yeah.
You know, and they come in like the little squad and they're like, you know, back away from the patient.
They are SWAT team medics.
Yes, yes. Like back in the day, we ran a Shadowrun campaign where they were Dockwagon employees that go in to extract Shadowrunners, and that was their whole thing. And that became the storyline. I don't think it lasted very long, but it was an interesting concept, and I always wanted to see that in real life, and to see that now, like the very small taste we had of it.
Yeah.
It feels very much what I was expecting.
Oh, so, absolutely. Yeah, because they act like cops.
Yes.
They come in and like, step away from the body and all this stuff, but they're medics. They're there to save that person.
They're like a SWAT team paramedics, essentially. So love to see that, especially if you yourself can qualify for like a TTI contract.
I almost guarantee, there will be like a mission in there where you have to, you know, act as one of them or something like that.
That's pretty cool. Little things in the environment, like the environment itself, you said like the density of it, there was all kinds of ads for things that don't exist, like everything. It's that kind of science fiction where everything feels like it's plausibly implausible. Like, this is a real thing, even though it's fantastic.
One of our favorite things, internal consistency. Right. So they've built their own world and they've fleshed it out, and everything just reacts and just it's just perfect, a perfect fit inside that world. One of the craziest things that I saw in there is because it's this concept of targeted ads in real life. That's in the game, too. So whatever you use in the game, like the things you drink and the things you buy and stuff like that, you walk past billboards and there will be targeted ads at your character in-game. How fucking insane is that?
And they give you a waypoint to, like, there was, like, the soda.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's the dispenser over there. They just give you a waypoint.
Yeah, was it like Nicola Soda? Right. There's one right over there. You can get one right now. It's just like, holy shit, this is just weird now.
We're worried about 30 seconds of Circle K ads at the top of the stream. Yeah. Can you imagine when you just walk by an ad and suddenly there's a waypoint in your eye? Like, okay, I'll buy your fucking soda. Get out of my eyes.
Yeah, it's like Futurama too. It's the extreme targeted ads.
All right, so a bunch of environmental storytelling and random world events, kind of like we used to see for like Red Dead. We're going to see again, I guess, for Red Dead 2, but that give you additional quests, things like there was a guy in the street, you want to buy this data tape, and it's like, sure, and you just walk by, and you don't even have to interact with them, but that could have been like a whole other quest line.
Yeah, he'd be like, I got it right back here in the alleyway, and then, you know, some other shit would have unfolded or something like that.
Yeah, probably jump you to try and rip out your cyberware. But also, just like the structure of like Assassin's Creed Origins, like the quest structure was open. You didn't have to complete one quest to be able to take and complete another quest entirely, and it's just wherever you were in the world.
But it seems like the type of thing that you may want to, because it may give you a bonus in who you talk to, or the weapons you have, fluid. Or just the credits you have to spend for that mission.
But and also the thing, kind of the neat thing is in the video you saw that it added a contact to your list. You could just call them, and as you like get relationship with these people, you can probably call in favors or get access to equipment.
Yeah, because it's not just about having that person in your contact list. It's about building a relationship with them, and then you may be able to call in favors, or they may just never answer the phone because they fucking hate you for some reason.
It's all about who you know and how they like you. Like who owes what to whom. Combat bots that could be ordered to follow you and like probably, you know, do stuff, kill guy.
Yeah, with the little spider tank that was following them around.
Yeah, I would really have liked to have seen that in action.
I think they're holding back on that one because they want to have that to show off a bit later.
Well, you know, riggers, like they had the one drone scanning you that was flying around.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see one of those with the guns mounted on it, the whole thing, just full on rigger nonsense. Choices affect faction and gang relations to you. weapons made of components. I loved this.
Yes.
Individual components that you can customize to tune the weapon to your individual play style. So it's not just like individual rail, blah, blah, blah. We're talking about customizing all the different components.
Yeah. Different scopes, different barrels, different clips and ammunition, like all that different stuff.
Want it?
Which is exactly what I wanted in like a Borderlands game. That's just going to be packed full of DLC, and they're going to be like, fuck that.
And they showed off some of the advanced weapons. They had some smart guns, which like had basically like gyrojet rounds that would like move around corners to hit your targets. They
had street-rigged weapons.
They had the chip that gave you the ability to ricochet shots off of walls.
Oh my god, I just lost my shit at that point because they were like, yeah, you can do this. I'm like, what? No, how? That's amazing. Yeah, it gives you like the little like pool ball shot is the little arrows. Here's where it'll hit. Here's where it'll reflect. And
there was those the tech weapons that had like the capacitors on them that would charge up and
that was the street rigged weapons. So those were the kind of down and dirty weapons. They're normal weapons that are amped up with just this kind of like jury rigged type of equipment on it.
And they get extra penetration. The corp weapons, though, that looks slick as fuck.
The smart gun. Yeah, the little gyrojet bullets. And...
No, right at the end where you got the corp weapon is like the
rifle.
The big rifle.
Yeah.
Oh.
That just whatever that smart gun was, I'm like, yeah, I'm all over that. That's just curve all those bullets right around cover and smoke them.
There is a reason that shit will be highly regulated and probably very much illegal unless you get like a special permit.
Yep.
So. And they talked about the endings. Like I said, always acting as a good person might not necessarily yield the best ending. You may not getting an ending you like, they say, and that's intentional. They want players to look back and realize where their choices turned into mistakes. And I think usually that's 5 seconds after you're like, wow, I shouldn't have attacked that guy. Yes, this was a mistake. I immediately regret this decision. And of course, the outcome of certain side quests may even influence the main quest, which I love. It's not just, okay, these are the main quests, and then all these side quests are nice to advance, but they don't mean anything.
Yeah.
You want to have everything tie back in.
No, because I guarantee a bunch of those side quests are going to be like, you get this extra, this extra character you can contact and he'll like back you up in a mission, or you get this extra contact who has like black market weapons that you have some severe firepower for this other mission you need to do.
Or maybe this guy who happens to be highly placed in a particular mega corporation, so if you need to get in...
you can just like walk in the front door because you have the street cred for it or something like that.
So I mean, in the video you had the option to go in, just do a transaction above board.
Yeah.
And maybe if you'd been able to talk your way out of it, maybe you'd been able to, go in and out, no combat at all.
Yeah, because you take that one mission, and how many different ways could you attack that mission?
Like it seems like Deus Ex ramped up to like a next generation
to where I think they wanted to get it, basically.
Yes. And I mean, just I keep coming back to the density of the world. Like any scene you're in the street, you're just looking around. There's so much detail and a level of...
It's the type of game that when I finally get to fire it up for the first time and you walk out of your apartment into that like kind of town square area where there's a bunch of people and stuff, I will probably sit there for half an hour just looking at things and listening to people. Because
that's amazing. Settings low.
Just taking in... the world that is. There's so few games where it's kind of like you can sit there and just really enjoy the scenery for a minute or two. This is one of those ones, as soon as like they did it in the demo, I was like, I just want to stand there for half an hour and take in everything that's happening.
Yeah, that's important in a game. Like when you think back to Mass Effect and you're on the Citadel, right? You think of those places, it becomes a real world that you inhabit, you move through. It's not just, oh, this is a place that I am, it's a hub, and I go through it to get other places. It feels like a place. This feels so real, even though it's patently unreal, that it becomes disturbing in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So I am absolutely jazzed. I was jazzed before, but now actually seeing where they're going towards and what we're going to get.
It's because basically when they had talked about it, I mean, when Cyberpunk was originally... said, yeah, we're making this game, I was excited. When they said it had all of these features, I was even more excited.
Yep.
And now that I've seen gameplay, it's like I couldn't be more on board with a fucking game if my life depended on it. Like it's just everything I fucking wanted in a game.
Yeah, it makes Deus Ex...
And I haven't even seen every aspect of it yet.
Makes Deus Ex look kind of chintzy.
It really does.
But that's okay. Really what it made me want to do is fire up the pen and paper RPG again and actually play a campaign. But man, yeah, so there's no date on that yet. Probably it'll be...
Probably 2020. I'm going to guess that.
I don't know. I think maybe next year. Maybe next year, maybe 2020.
I would love 2019, believe me, but I don't know. With the sheer size and insanity of that game, I could see it being like early 2020, I think, just to really, really polish it up. Although we did get note that the game is playable from start to finish now, so that's a definite bonus.
I think we're going to see it like probably third quarter next year. I think they're going to like try to hit this year before next generation games come out and start.
I would so be ready for that. Absolutely.
I mean, the fact that they're showing it at this level says to me that they are in the final stretch. They're in like alpha gameplay going into beta.
And also when they were talking about when they're driving in the car and stuff like that, they said that you will be able to own different vehicles, including motorbikes, and I was just like, oh god, yes.
Yeah, I'm sure that won't come back to haunt me. The good news is that, driving in the game, because we all know how much I love driving.
I guess one of the other things, too, that I really want to know, just in a Shadowrun game, I'm wondering if your augmentations, if they have the whole kind of tech zombie aspect to it.
Yes, they do.
They do,
yes,
okay.
The stat is called humanity.
Okay, yes.
Unlike Essence, that, FASA also
a little more
stole.
Magic.
I mean, allegedly withdrawn.
But yeah, so I want to know, how jacked up on augmentation you can get before it's just like, oh, your body's full of tech.
Well, you saw some of those scavs, like...
That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if your character, if V, can get to that point, because
probably
those are fucking awesome.
Probably. I mean, there's almost certainly going to be some trade-offs in terms of gameplay.
Well, I mean, people see you and they run and scream in terror, so I mean, that's one of the trade-offs.
That's probably what it is, right? In some circumstances and versus, like, some people, it'll probably impact the way they react to you.
Yeah, like some people probably won't even deal with you because you're so teched up and everything.
Probably the police will look at you a little bit long and hard,
Yeah, just walking down the street and they arrest you, like
walk through the metal detectors, like seriously.
It's like, look at this.
Put everything metal in the bin, and it's like, take out your eye, foot, Jesus Christ. All right, so you know what time it is.
Yes,
it's time to press select on the options menu. Every week, the options menu is a rotating series of topics we like to bring up and discuss. And this week, the option is New Game Plus, which are games that we come back to again and again over the years to play and replay because they're awesome. And we find comfort in them.
Yep, absolutely. And
what would you like?
Because of Cyberpunk 2077 thematically, I've got to go with Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Okay.
And again, I mean, the game's been out since, I think, 2010, 2011 or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's around that time. But I've played through it 2 or 3 times now, and I just absolutely adore that game. Because again, before Cyberpunk 2077, this was like the Cyberpunk gaming experience, basically.
Well, it's like the old saying goes, every time someone mentions Deus Ex, someone has to install Deus Ex.
But there's also that, I think they are referring to the original one, per se.
But still.
But either way, I mean, that game, when it came out, that was just like, again, that whole kind of mind-blowing concept of like, oh, I have choices in the missions that I do, and it was this kind of like realized environment and city that you could play in. And
2011.
It was kind of that. It had a bit of an open world feel, even though it was still...
It was hub and spoke, but
it was hub and spoke, but yeah, you kind of had those city blocks that you could hang out on, and there were those random people you kind of interact with and everything like that. So it feels like Cyberpunk 2077 really kind of dumbed down into the nuts and bolts.
Right.
And just because this trailer came out and I was getting these kind of flashbacks of it, I was just like, I have to play that again now, because nothing else is really going to fill that void until the game actually comes out. But yeah, playing it multiple times, I love the characters in it, I love the story. It's just, it's a lot of fun because it gives you that environment to play in and everything, and it's a lot of fun, and it's well built too. So
I made more than one gameplay video of that, believe me.
Yeah, and just the fun that you can have too. I mean, like, just the different ways you can attack the different missions and stuff like that, about knocking people out or literally kicking down a wall and just, taking everyone out with a shotgun. Like,
it was Typhoon?
That Typhoon, like, mine explosion thing. Crazy. It was so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely one that I will go back to again and again, or at least until Cyberpunk comes out, and then I don't know, that one might get washed aside, and then it'll just be forever for Cyberpunk 2077. But yeah, that's when I'm definitely going to go back and play now, just because of the announcement.
Deus Ex, I definitely have a soft spot in my heart for that series, despite how shitty Invisible War was.
Yeah.
But the original one was great. The two ones by Eidos were also great, despite the fact that Mankind Divided kind of feels like the first half of an actual.
Yeah, and I mean it's good enough that that they said that they're still working on it. It wasn't just like, no, we're that it'll be another 10 years before you get one of those kind of things. They said they're still working on it, so I hope we do get the second half of that story.
Yeah, I mean, I was happy enough having just the original one, because when I first saw the screenshots of Human Revolution, I was like, they're just gonna ruin it. Like, Deus Ex is such a classic, but then I thought it's kind of like the Ghostbusters effect. Deus Ex 2 is already kind of shitty, so I mean, how bad could it be? And it turns out that they knocked it out of the park. And,
and they did just a lot of the fun little gadgets and stuff. They've made it very much that cyberpunk feel to the whole game.
Yeah, you could definitely choose how to best progress through the game. You could be like completely stealthy, what I always did, because I'm the stealth bastard, and or you could just literally like knock through walls. You had like the ability, one of my favorite abilities was you could like literally punch through a wall and like grab a guy, so you could like see him through the wall, punch through the wall, pull him through, and you'd be like incapacitated. So
but of course everyone in a 3-block radius heard you do that, so you better get your gun out right after that happens.
It would attract attention.
On Naruto, how long till Cyberpunk 2077 comes out on VR? Probably 2077.
Yeah, roughly around the actual dates.
With how good that game looks, good luck playing that in VR.
The fun thing was that it looks great, but I was still watching it. I was watching textures, like the level of detail shift from level to level, and it's like I was watching it pop in places.
There were places, but I mean, again, as he said at the start, the middle, and the end of the trailer, like this is still a work in progress.
Agreed.
And they are going to finesse some of that stuff.
And
honestly,
me,
again, with the density of that game, a little pop in here and there, I don't fucking care, because my eyes are going to be glued to everything that's going on.
Yeah, I mean, if I can play No Man's Sky and watch stuff like fizzle in, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
So I as it is, just getting to play that pop in or no, level of detail issues or not, like it was just amazing to watch it happen, and like in pretty much 60 frames per second in a real-time streaming environment. So I'm... Whew.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, we're back talking about Cyberpunk and not your fucking Deus Ex.
Do you have something Cyberpunk themed, or do you just have a new game plus, like a normal new game plus that you
I have actually a couple, but like if we're talking about classic Cyberpunk games, I can think of 3 off the top of my head that I go back to and play. And the obvious one being, of course, Shadowrun.
Of course.
For the Genesis.
Yeah.
Shadowrun for the Super Nintendo.
Yep.
Separate games, but both good for different reasons. What I think I've talked about Shadowrun for the Genesis and the other one.
Well, we have, because you like the Genesis one better. I like the Super Nintendo one better.
I own them both, but I mean, I like the Genesis one because it was closer to the actual gameplay.
Right.
But yeah, we're gonna go even further back than that. One that we actually had streamed here was Snatcher.
Oh yes.
And Snatcher for the Sega CD was a Hideo Kojima game, a classic game. I think it was a successor to Police Knots. I think Police Knots was out first, but it really benefited from his original foray to Police Knots. Snatcher is basically a very Blade Runner-ish game with a dose of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Hence the name.
Except robots.
Except robots, right? So it's this whole conspiracy. They're doing this investigation into this mystery. People of note, major figures, political figures, they're finding them being kidnapped and replaced by these humanoid robots that have like flesh skin, and for whatever reason you don't know yet. So you are part of this, and I'm gonna go with the acronym.
Yep.
Part of this squad of Junkers, which stands for, in classic 80s style, Japanese undercover neurokinetic elimination rangers. Junker.
I wonder how long it took him to figure that one out.
Longer than it needed, because you could have just said, "Oh, I'm a junker," and have it be a colloquialism like Blade Runner, right? It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it's just a term. And yes, Janus Marine, we were actually playing it on the channel at one point, and it is something that I would like to get back to, because that was on a just doing stuff is fun. So yeah,
like a year ago,
because it was fun because it was my first experience with the game.
Correct.
And I was thoroughly enjoying it because I love that old kind of point and click adventure type situation.
But yes, it's a fantastic game. It has a great storyline. The gameplay itself is pretty rudimentary because it's a point and click game. But I mean, if you can get past
that, the visuals are great. Like they're so retro. Yeah. It's just the art you would see in a classic like Shadowrun Cyberpunk like game book, basically.
And it has Hideo Kojima's trademark weird, perverse kind of humor to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So all things considered, I really wish that they were actually going to do a remake for PS1. And bring it to North America, and it just never made it over here. And I was so disappointed by that. Let me tell you, I would have loved to have seen that game remastered for today. We get fucking Night Trap. We can't get Snatcher. What the fuck?
It's easier to remaster ugly video.
I mean, I would be happy for a 1-to-1. You know, Night Trap. They went in, they spent money, they cleaned it up. Why?
Because it's infamous. Snatcher's not infamous.
But it's good. You want that game.
Yeah.
I tell you. So disappointing. Anyway, so Snatcher, yes. Great storyline. Definitely plays on a lot of the 80s tropes, a lot of the Blade Runner style things, cyberpunk jokes.
Well, because ultimately it is about hunting down robots that are, look like humans and stuff like that. So that theme is strong throughout the whole thing.
Except in this, there's an insidious master plan. There's stuff behind the scenes.
More in the realms of binary domain, which that was the same type of idea behind it.
When I first saw Binary Domain, I'm like, fuck, is this like a Snatcher sequel?
Yeah.
But no, it was just
the same concept.
Yeah, very, very heavily themed along the same lines.
Yeah.
So yes, if you can at any point get a hold of a copy of the Sega CD game Snatcher, definitely sit down, play that. Love that game. Fantastic. All right. So we're actually going to come up slightly short tonight, I think, but that's okay.
That's okay, because Cyberpunk 2077, we'll let you go early so you can go watch the trailer, because it's 48 minutes long.
We're going to sit here and watch you for 48 minutes while you watch. Let's just all watch it together. We'll put it up, we'll watch it together. It'll be amazing.
No, because I'll just be like licking the screen or something.
True. Don't lick the screen. It'll smear. That's no good. In any case, I'm going to actually apply like the Switch game film to it so that you lick the screen, it tastes awful.
So, doesn't matter. Cyberpunk, I'll lick it anyways.
Sometime for our season 3 kickoff, we will have to actually lick a Switch cartridge.
Oh, that'll be the opener. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll have Taco Roulette.
Cheers and.
Well, no, we'll have to
lick a Switch game and eat a spicy taco.
We'll have to do it like it's a game, like some kind of contest where there's a loser that has to lick the Switch cartridge.
It's like, you gotta lick the Switch cartridge.
Because apparently it's like...
Oh, apparently it's terrible.
Apparently it's like that substance that makes your tongue taste wrong. Like, it changes the way your tongue tastes things.
Oh, yeah?
It is that bad that it is, like, terrible.
Good to know.
Yes. So if you're
don't lose that competition, then.
Yeah, do not lick a Switch cartridge. All right, so that's our show for this week's, folks. Thank you very much for coming and joining us here. Hopefully our frame rate has been corrected as Shaw got their shit sorted out.
There was no complaints, so I'm sure we did fine tonight.
That's true. I'm sure there would have been if there had been issues. Because I always
James Green would have let us know right the fuck away.
Yeah, Tron would have been out here shaking his fist at the cloud. So if you like what we do here, please share our links with your friends and fellow gamers. We always like to see new people in the chat talking about games and what they like, and the worst James Bond movie. Because apparently that was
it just randomly came up.
It was a huge topic tonight because we were talking about GoldenEye. But in any case, share out our links. We are, of course, twitch.tv/digital_fiasco. You can reach out to us on Twitter. Let us know what you think at Twitter, on Twitter at digital_fiasco. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you, even if you think that, Pierce Brosnan was a worse James Bond than, like, George Lazenby.
Which most people don't even know who the fuck that is.
No. I mean, I like Pierce Brosnan and all, but when you think about it, on balance, he had one good movie.
1.5.
Charitably, you could
say... No more James Bond talk.
I know. Charitably, you could say The World Is Not Enough was all right.
Yeah.
But not really.
It counts as half a movie.
Does it, though?
Sure.
One good movie. One good movie. In any case...
And remember ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter, yes.
Yeah, the sponsor, not sponsor.
Sponsor, not sponsor. Yes. And
maybe someday.
Kokanee and Coca-Cola. No relation. My mouth is dry from talking about James Bond for two damn hours. All right, so tomorrow, of course, we'll be back at our regular time with Comic Sans. Kelly and Albel88 will be talking about all kinds of nerdy shit. Possibly, there was one thing I read.
Are they going to be talking about James Bond?
And I hope not. Apparently Chris Pine isn't coming back for the next Star Trek?
Yeah, both Chris Pine and I can't remember. I can't remember if it was the other guy that plays Spock or whatever, or
Zach Quinto.
Yeah, or some. I don't know. I don't remember. But yeah, basically two of the main. Oh no, it was Chris Pine and Thor's brother.
Oh, Hemsworth.
Hemsworth.
Who
yeah.
the hell does he play on?
I don't know,
Star
but he's
Trek.
somewhere in there, and they both walked. So yeah, I'm sure they'll have something to say about that.
I had no idea he was even on Star Trek.
I haven't even seen the third one, so. The second one left such a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
Like a Switch cartridge.
Speaking of bad taste in your mouth, last week or the week before, I just have to get this out now while we're talking about Star Trek.
Yeah.
And since it's our show, they were talking about something about Russians and Anton Yelchin, the guy who died.
Yeah.
He's no longer going to be Chekhov. And I swear to God, I snuck this joke in, and I think only one person got it in the chat. It was like, in Russia, male get you. And it's like, wow, it's like, oh, such a dark joke. But I was very proud of that very, very tasteless joke.
Snuck it in there.
Yeah. Hemsworth was Kirk's dad.
Oh, yes, that's right. So I don't know. Did he come back in the third one? Who knows?
Unless there's some kind of time travel thing.
Could be.
He was in the third. Well, unless there's a flash.
It's Star Trek. There's always a time travel at some point.
That's true. All right. Gotta find Spock's brain. Anyway, folks, tune in tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Time. Kelly and Albel for Comic Sans. And, of course, on Wednesday, Player's Guide Live is back as well. So Daniel and Jackson will be talking about whoever the fuck knows.
It doesn't matter. Tune in because it's always a good time because they do deep dive discussions instead of just kind of news updates. So
plus, whatever they say they're going to talk about, they're going to just wander.
It'll always kind of go sideways from there, and it's always fun to get in on that conversation because shit definitely goes sideways.
Yeah. And that'll be also Wednesday at 7 p.m. And I keep threatening that I'm going to do random streams now that I have maybe some bandwidth back. Maybe
you should do it now that Thursday, it actually works again.
On Thursday, I was seriously thinking about starting on to Phantom Doctrine, which is that new guys like the guys who did Hard West. So the Cold War tactical modern RPG strategy RPG
version of Hard West
seems like a pretty awesome concept to me. So I am on board.
Yep.
All right, folks. We appreciate you joining us. We thank you for always coming in, supporting us. We appreciate it greatly. I am Jack McBastard.
And I'm Dandr0id.
And we are Digital Fiasco, and this has been Digital Fiasco Live. See you next week.
See ya.